Hello everyone, I am Morgan Kanan, and this is my Let's Play of Sky Factory 3. This is a mod pack by Bacon Donut, and it can be found on the Twitch launcher. It is a Skyblock style pack, so I may be cutting the video occasionally to eliminate some of the more grindy bits. And as with most Minecraft, I'm gonna start by punching a tree. I'm just gonna work my way down here a little bit, grab this piece of wood. At this point, you would find that most people would craft a crafting table. I'm actually gonna craft up some sticks here, and I'm gonna just look at this block and press C. That's gonna place a little temporary crafting grid down where I can craft whatever I need, and then pressing C again collects the item. I crafted myself a crook, and I'm going to use that crook to break these leaves in the hope of getting some saplings, maybe some silkworms. If you don't get a sapling here, it's pretty disastrous. You really don't get a second chance. Getting that crook early really helps to ensure that you don't get stuck with no saplings. Well, let me just slowly work my way down this tree. Got 4 saplings. Haven't gotten any silkworms yet. And I'm going to leave this bottom layer of leaves for the moment. Work my way down. As you see, I don't start with much of an island, just, well, just a single block of dirt hanging out over space. So now I'll create my crafting table. I'm immediately going to turn that into a crafting station, and we'll just put that down as my first block. Now get a bunch of planks, and I'm going to turn those planks into slabs. And I'm going to use these slabs to build out my my island. I can place them properly. And let me collect these. Get a bit of a platform going underneath these leaves so that I can harvest them and hopefully not lose any more. Really want to try to get as many resources out of that tree as I can get, and so we'll just bang out a bit of a floor here. Now my starting items were a bunch of books that function as introductions to a lot of the mods used in this pack. I also started with a few other items. I got a torch, excellent, and the pack was made by Bacon Donut, so it's wonderful. I started with a piece of bacon and a donut. Now a couple of the other items here is this tin nugget, which is not a tin nugget. It's actually an iron nugget, which is a little bit of a troll. Another troll is this builder's wand, which is nothing more than a stick that's been renamed. So now I'm gonna collect this last layer of leaves and grow myself another tree, get some more wood. Now I don't have any bone meal, but we can speed up this tree growth by twerking for the tree. Just keep doing that, and eventually the tree will grow. Again, I'm gonna use my crook on these leaves, try to get myself some more saplings. I got some apples. The silkworm just dropped. That's a pretty good start there. We'll just knock down all of these. And as with any skyblock map, you really start with very little, virtually nothing. But that will change fairly quickly as I gain the ability to generate some of the resources I'm going to need. But early in the game here, wood is going to be the resource I have in abundance. Pretty much everything I do is going to be built out of some wood early on. Again, I'm just going to convert all of these into slabs so that I can expand my platform, give myself a bit of a safer place to work. Not have to worry about falling to my death quite so much. And this pack has a lot of tech mods, a handful of magic mods, so those are things we'll be covering later. It has mystical agriculture, which allows you to create plants to grow a lot of the resources that you're going to need. It also has the chickens mod, which similar to the old forestry bees, you can breed chickens that produce all sorts of different resources. And various other things that we'll work with. It has one of the ex-Nihilo mods, which most people who are familiar with skyblocks are familiar with. And in a lot of cases, that's what you use to get a lot of your starting resources. Make myself another crop stick, yeah, another crop here, work here, and keep working on these trees. And really the next thing we're going to want is more room to grow trees. So I'm going to want to try to get my hands on a bit more dirt. It'll give me more plantable spaces. More trees at once means more wood resources coming in. I should be able to do that in just a second. Now, the way we're going to do that is using a wooden barrel here. The wooden barrel can be used to create various dirt and clay and things like that. So right off the bat here, we're going to want to make a bunch more planks, make some more slabs, and we're going to make us a handful of barrels. And we'll put those down in the world for the time being. Just put them over here at the edge. Now, you can put pretty much any compostable item in these barrels, and 8 of the items, it varies depending on the item, but at least with saplings, it's 8 of the saplings will turn into a block of dirt. So while I wait for that to happen, I will keep chugging at trees. It doesn't take very long. I'm sure that that dirt's already done by now. From that dirt, of course, that's going to give me the ability to grow more trees simultaneously. We can also use that dirt to get various other materials like cobblestone and seeds for getting our initial farms up and running. getting ourselves some food. Early in the game here, food is something you got to worry about, but I got a few apples, so I should be good for the time being. So now I've got a few more pieces of dirt, so I'm going to expand my platform a bit more and get those dirt blocks placed. That way I can get more trees going at once. More trees at once means more dirt, which ultimately means more of the other resources I'm going to need in the near future. So this is one of those grindy bits I was talking about. So let me expand my platform and get those other trees set up, get a bit more dirt made, and I'll be back. Right. I'm back, and I have expanded the platform, added some more dirt for more tree farming, and I have spent some time creating a bunch of extra dirt, which we're going to need for the next step. Now, to speed up the creation of dirt, I have switched over from using a crook to using wooden shears, which can be crafted using this recipe. They function much like normal shears. They have a lower durability, but they are available to you at this point in the game. That'll get you leaf blocks. You get a lot more leaf blocks than you get saplings, so they're much better for composting into dirt. And just like saplings, it's 8 leaf blocks creates 1 dirt. In addition, for crooking, I started using compressed crooks. You can make a compressed crook by taking 4 normal crooks and crafting them in the same pattern that you used to make the crook initially. That gives you a compressed crook. It has much better durability. Also, now that I have a good selection of apples, so I have some food, I can use the ore excavator. It's a vein miner-like mod in this pack. If you hold down your tilde key while mining something with a tool in your hand, it mines all connected blocks. This doesn't have to be an actual tool useful. I mean, I'll break this log with a slab in my hand, and because I was holding down the tilde key, it took down the entire tree. The downside of doing this is that it consumes a lot of hunger. So you don't really want to do it unless you have plenty of food. You're also going to want to be really careful. I mean, at this point, my entire platform is made out of slabs. If I were to accidentally do that to the platform, a large portion, if not all of the platform would vanish, and I would fall to my doom. So you just have to be very careful. It's raining, so we're now getting some water collecting in these barrels. That's very good, though we probably don't need this much. But the next step I really got to do is I need to collect some string. So I've got my crook, and I'm just going to grow a tree here, or several. That should give me a lot of string. I'm just going to click on them with some silkworms. And you really only need to use one, but using more than one makes the process go a bit faster. That should be all the silkworms I really need to lay down. Now it's just a matter of waiting. When you look at the leaves, you can see it showing the progression of the infestation. When a leaf gets fairly well infested, it will infest the leaves around it. Eventually, the whole tree will be infested and turn white. At that point, you can harvest it with your crook or your compressed crook, and you're going to get string. And ideally, the next thing we really need to make is we need to make a sieve. It's a pretty simple recipe, and while we wait for those to turn, we can do that. So we'll just need a bit more in the way of planks for that. And I want, let's see about getting one more. 6 should be a good number for right now. And a sieve requires a mesh. So if I look up mesh, here's a standard mesh. It's just made out of string. And the string, of course, we're going to get from these infested trees. As you see, most of them are done. That guy's still in progress. There's probably a couple other blocks around that haven't quite started yet. But as soon as these guys are totally turned, which we're pretty close. There's just that one more block over there, which is chugging along. And when they're all done, we're going to harvest these. Now, I'll use the that ore excavator hotkey to do that with this crook. And what that's going to do is it's going to get me a ton of string. I need to make one of those meshes for each of my sieves. There are multiple different types of meshes. They have different percentages of getting different materials, and there are certain materials you can only get from certain meshes. So let me, I'll just put down my sieves, how about right here. I'm going to put them in a pattern like this. Now I've got a bunch of string, so let's make ourselves 6 meshes. They don't stack, which can be troublesome sometimes, but not too bad. And now let's make some room on my hotbar for these. And to install them, you just right-click with the mesh on your sieve. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a bunch of this dirt and I'm going to sieve it. Now, the way that these sieves work is they will work together. If you put them in a pattern, it'll go up to a 5x5, so 25 sieves. And when you click on them, all connected sieves with the same type of mesh will also do the work. And we're just going to sieve this a little bit. So as you see, I'm getting various seeds, dark oak, spruce, potato, normal wheat, grass. So these are all things that are going to help me to start a farm and actually be able to grow some food. In addition, I'm getting these stone pebbles, and those stone pebbles can be crafted together to make cobblestone. So this is my first source of cobble in the game. So let me just chug through this dirt here, get this finished off. And then we're going to look at what I'm going to do with that cobble. This is similar to most sky blocks, so if you're familiar with various sky blocks, what I'm doing here isn't much different. Really, the next big milestone is going to be to build a cobblestone generator, but as you see, I did not start with a bucket of lava or anything like that, so I'm going to have to come up with another way to get my lava bucket to make the cobblestone generator. Let me convert these pebbles into cobble here. So the 2 stacks of dirt that I just went through got me quite a few various different seeds, and it also got me about a stack and a third of cobble. So let me do the following. So now I'm going to need a hammer to, and I'm going to make a couple of these hammers. And we're going to just lay down a bunch of cobble here. Again, this is a kind of a very standard skyblock mechanic that's going on here, which is that I'm going to hammer this stone and it's going to turn into gravel. And of course I can use that ore excavator hotkey on this, and now I've created a bunch of gravel. So then I can take that gravel and I can make a bunch of it gravel, and now that gravel is going to break down into sand. And finally, finally, I can take that sand and I can turn it into dust. So if I hammer the sand, I'm going to get dust. And at this point, I can take that dust, I can put it into these rain buckets with the water in them, the barrels, and it turns that dust into clay. And I'm going to need some clay in order to progress here, because I'm going to need to make buckets, and I'm going to need to make a crucible. Now the crucible is what I'm going to use to get lava. The other thing that I need for the crucible is I need some bone meal. Now, if I look up bone meal right here, I can see that sieving dust has a chance to give me bone meal. So I'm going to take the rest of this sand that I've got here, and I'm going to convert it to dust. And now I'm going to sieve that dust. And as you see, it's going to give me a bunch of drops, just like sieving the dirt did. I already got 3 bone meal. So let me sieve through some dust here and try to get the bone meal I need, and I will be right back. All right. So now I've got the bone meal I need. So I'm going to work on making that crucible. So the first step for making the crucible is I have to make porcelain clay. That is made by combining clay with bone meal, which produces porcelain clay. And then you craft that in your standard crucible pattern, and it gives you your unfired clay crucible. I'm also going to need some buckets, so I'm going to make a couple of clay buckets here. Now, of course, these are unfired. They need to be cooked. So the next step would be to make furnace, and we'll put that furnace, I don't know, down here for the time being. And I will use some sticks to fuel that furnace. I don't really have much in the way of coal or charcoal or anything like that yet. So we'll throw some sticks in there and cook up this crucible. As well as these 2 clay buckets. And while those clay buckets cook, we'll come back here we'll get the torch that I was given right at the beginning here, and we'll plop that torch, I'll say right here, and put the crucible on top of it. So as you see, that says it's a rate of 1. The torch is just about the worst thing you can use. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to load this up with some cobble. And as you see, it is very slowly converting that cobble into lava. So our buckets are done. So I'm going to take one of these buckets. I'm going to grab myself a bucket of water. And I'm also going to need a piece of glass. So let's break this down into some sand. And we'll cook that sand. Now we've got our piece of glass. So it's going to be a little while on that lava. So while we wait, let's take a look at what I got from sifting. So from sifting the dirt, as I said, I got all sorts of various different seeds and things like that. And then from sifting the dust, I got some ore pieces. So if we look at sifting, so if I do something like looking up dust and look at the uses of it, and go to sieving. Let's look at all the sieving recipes. As we can see, for different materials, you have different item outputs, and this is based on a combination of the material and the mesh. So, for example, sand can give you various ores and cactus seed when using a string mesh. If you use a flint mesh, you also have the chance to get cocoa beans. And if you use an iron mesh, it gives you yellorium and ancient spores, prosperity shards, that sort of thing. Now, the different meshes are made by, so of course you've got your basic mesh, like this one, which is just made with string. And then you have your flint stiffened mesh, which is string and flint, iron stiffened mesh, and diamond stiffened mesh. Now, each one of these produces different drops from sieving the same stuff. In many cases, it's much the same, but it has different percentages. So if we go over to something like dust here, or sand here, as you see, like a gold ore is a 3% with a string mesh, whereas with a flint mesh it's 6%, with an iron mesh it's 10%, and with a diamond mesh it's 15%. But notice with that diamond mesh we lost the ability to get most of the other ore types. So by focusing on gold, you're sacrificing your chance to get other ore types. Now, what do we do with these ores we're getting? Well, if we look at something like iron ore here, with these iron ore pieces, we can craft 4 of those together, which will give us an iron ore chunk. Now, that iron ore chunk can then be smelted into a single iron ingot. Once we hit the point of having a smeltery, we can actually get ore doubling going by smelting these iron ore chunks. They function pretty much equivalently to the ore that you would mine out of the ground in ordinary Minecraft. So how are we doing? We're almost halfway there with the lava. So I'm gonna set up the recipe here. And what we're making is a cobblestone generator. A lot of people build a traditional cobblestone generator early on. I tend to just go straight for the the automated one, which is very simple to make. It's just a matter of getting what you need from the sifting to create it. So if I look up cobblestone generator, I can see right here, this is a cobblestone generator. It's very simple. It's just a lava bucket, a water bucket, some cobblestone, and a piece of glass. And as we can see from the tooltip here, that will generate up to 32 blocks of cobble, which are stored internally. And it makes one cobble block every 40 ticks, so that's every 2 seconds. And then it will automatically eject cobble into an inventory above or to a hopper below. So I crafted myself up a chest, and we're just going to put that chest right on top of that. And it should just keep outputting until this inventory is full. Once we have a steady supply of cobble, we can then begin using that as a building material and progress. Let's take a look at our little achievement book here, which is going to show us some of the things it would like us to complete. So if we go back to the very first page, we used a crook on leaves and get saplings and silkworms. We did twerk a sapling into a tree. We made dirt by composting sapling and leaves. We did infest leaves with a silkworm. We got string. We crafted a sieve and a sim mesh, string mesh. We collected rainwater. We made cobblestone. We turned cobble into gravel, sand, and dust with a hammer. I have not sieved all the things yet, so I won't check that one. It wants us to make some Tinker's Construct tools. We'll get into that. We did make some clay by putting water in a barrel. We made a crucible. We are in the process of making lava. And it wants us to build a cobblestone generator. Let's see if there's anything else we might have completed here. I doubt it. No, all of that stuff is way beyond what we've done so far. But we have completed everything on the first page, and we're well on our way to completing the next page of the book. And our cobble is almost completely converted to lava here. It'll probably be just a few more seconds. We got some trees that look like they need to be cut down, including a very large one here. That's probably going to generate a lot of apples for us. We're getting very close on the cobble generator. I'm actually going to put some more cobblestone in there so that it can continue making it. So now we've got our bucket of lava. We come over here. We have our cobblestone generator. It did give me my water bucket back. Of course, the lava bucket was consumed in the process. We'll put that over here and plop an inventory on top of it. And there we go. That inventory is now being filled with cobblestone. And that really makes things a lot easier for us going forward into the future, because having a ready source of cobblestone changes things a lot. And we didn't have to spend a lot of time mining at a traditional cobble farm with lava and water flowing into each other. Now we can go into the book here, and we built a cobble generator. And if we go to the next page, let's see, automate your cobble with a cobble generator block or a transfer node. So there we go. We did that with a cobble generator block. And Next, we'll probably be sieving some more materials and prepping to build a mob farm. I will probably build that mob farm out of cobble since we now have it available to us. We'll probably also get some tools built. We'll get the Tinker's Construct tables built. But I think that that is going to be it for our first episode. We made pretty good progress. We got a good sized platform built. We've got our cobblestone generator up. We've got the ability to make as much lava as we need. The starts of being able to collect the resources we need to progress. And that's probably it. In between episodes, I may do a little bit of work on things, maybe build some Tinker's Construct stuff. And harvest these trees, maybe prep a platform for the mob farm. One of the things it's going to want us to do is build a layer below where we started from. I'm probably going to build the mob farm underneath us, so that will largely accomplish both of those goals. But we'll see. Anyway, everyone have a good time. And this is Morden Kanan, and see you next time.